The National Mental Health Workforce Acceleration Collaborative is addressing common roadblocks to increase the number of clinicians in practice.
If you could tell us more about the Accelerator program and what it all entails.
The Accelerator program was designed really to address the gap we had between candidates who are coming through their education and then getting licensed. And there was a drop-off of graduation to licensure.
What are some of the roadblocks the Accelerator is trying to remove?
I believe the statistic is about 57% of folks who graduate with a degree in behavioral health don't go on to pursue licensure. So we were really excited to partner with you on this.
How does the Accelerator help day-to-day and support the mission of getting more graduates into licensure?
One of the things that really pops up for me is it really helps me kind of stay accountable for my hours. Every month we have a cohort check-in with our state co-chairs, and also in that it just supports with the financial aspects of it. That hasn't been a thought on my mind to not be able to afford that.
How has the program created an impact?
We launched first in 2023 with Georgia and Colorado, those two states. And the next year, 2024, we expanded to Hawaii, to California, the state of Washington. And then just this year, we expanded also to Oregon. And we're not stopping here. So
Wraparound support, peer cohorts, and financial assistance are just a few ways to keep clinicians in the pipeline. To learn more, tune into this episode of Wellbeing Wednesdays.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. My name is Jessica Robbins, and I am with the National Council for Mental Wellbeing. And I am here with these two ladies who I work closely with on our National Mental Health Workforce Acceleration Collaborative. So I am happy to be here with Brianna and Pam. So would love for you both to introduce yourselves.
I'm Brianna. I am in the Accelerator program. I'm currently an associate clinical social worker working towards my licensure, and I am from the California cohort.
And I'm Pamela Schwartz. I'm from Kaiser Permanente, and I have the honor and the privilege to lead this amazing work on behalf of Kaiser Permanente.
Wonderful. So Pam, if you could tell us a little bit about what the Accelerator program is. We call it the Accelerator for short, so we don't have to say the full name every time. That would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Well, so maybe just rising up a little bit, that we could see that the nation was struggling with mental health and that there weren't enough providers to meet the demand of the nation. And so we created with you all the Mental Health Accelerator, the Mental Health Workforce Accelerator program, to really get people into the field practicing. And so the charge of the program was to get more candidates like yourself licensed. So to get people through licensure so that they could serve more patients. And also we had a particular emphasis on making sure that we were representing the communities and representing where there were the most shortages across the nation. The program provides wraparound training and support to the candidates to make sure that people make it all the way through their licensure so they can be prepared and enter the workforce. So it helps with things like special trainings, connections to jobs, testing capabilities, licensure, the very complicated, in some states, like California, I think, even more complicated licensure processes. And so we're trying to make it as easy as possible to support candidates to be able to complete their license process.
Absolutely. And these things are so important. I believe the statistic is about 57% of folks who graduate with a degree in behavioral health don't go on to pursue licensure. So we were really excited to partner with you on this.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but that is a huge number. So just putting a pin in that, that's how we got here, because that 57% is really unacceptable, actually. So it just puts an emphasis on the need.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to hear more all about everything that the program provides from Brianna in a second, but would love to hear from you first why KP leaned into this specific work about 2 years ago when we launched the program. We know you all, cover so many bases of community health and healthcare. So why this program about 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, thank you. It's well, for us, for people to be healthy, we know that we need to pay attention also to mental health, and that you can't be healthy without also having stable mental health. And so we also could see, this was in 2022 that we started planning for this, and we could see that the nation was struggling. That COVID exacerbated the challenges that we were seeing across the nation in both people's mental health and also having enough providers to serve the need. And so we started rolling up our sleeves to say, okay, where is the unique role that we can play in being part of the solution? And so that number that you gave of 57% was something we paid a lot of attention to, is how do we help get people through the licensure process so that they can practice. The other thing that was going on is we, as a nonprofit set of hospitals, we have over 40 hospitals. We assess the most pressing needs of our communities every 3 years. It's a requirement for nonprofit hospitals. And so what we could see is that mental health was being elevated by our communities as one of the most pressing needs going on in the communities. And we have 12.6 million members. They live in communities with almost 70 million residents. And so we were also paying attention to that this need was being elevated by our community. Community is plural, and we could see it. We could see the shortage as being not able to serve. And so we wanted to lean in to say, okay, how can we partner with others like yourself and many others that are part of this initiative to really roll up our sleeves and create something that could make a difference in the world. And it has. We started we launched first in 2023 with Georgia and Colorado, those two states. And then in the next year, 2024, we expanded to Hawaii, to California, where you're from, and then also to the state of Washington. And then just this year, we expanded also to Oregon. And we're not stopping here. So it's really trying to find a program that works, and then just accelerate it as quickly as possible to get more candidates through to being able to join the provider network across the nation.
Thank you, Pam. So, Brianna, I would love to hear, why did you want to become a clinical social worker in the first place? What drew you to this field?
I used to be a foster youth. Me and my siblings were taken away from my mom when we were really young, and I had no idea what that meant. I just knew that they told me I wasn't going to go back with my mom. So ever since then, thankfully, my mom was able to get us back and get back in, we were back in her custody, and that's usually not something that happens. And during that time, I just remember like two distinct social workers. One was what not to be mean, but essentially I was like, she's the worst. She promises all these things and what would say like, I'm gonna take you to the movies and never show up. And, she would say, you can trust me. And I would tell her something that's going on in the foster home. And then I don't know how she did it, but then like the foster mom would be like, why would you say this? And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound like support. And I'm in 6th grade, 10 or 11. So there's that social worker. And then there was the other one, which now being in the field, I think it was our FFA social worker, the foster family agency. She was literally the complete opposite, would take me and my older brother out to the movies, take us to go get something to eat, take us with my little sibling. She also showed up to my middle school volleyball games and brought this idea of you could play volleyball in college. I had no idea what that even meant. So with that, I was like, I want to be that person for someone because it meant so much to me. Our family, we came back together and it was a lot of work, but it's so important to me. Though I think that social worker just brought a different sense to us as well. She, actually recently I found a card where she wrote my mom and was like, I don't see this very often. And it was just so heartwarming. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be that person. Even if I never find out that I'm that person, I want to be that person because it was so impactful, gave me the idea of college, showed me what support looked like, showed me that promises can be kept and they're not always broken. And that's without, she didn't have to. That's not part of her job. So with that, it really drove me to want to be a social worker. And then when I got into the field of working with foster youth and wraparound, I was like, I can even be more for them. I can be a clinician, a clinical social worker. What? I'm not just the person that, quote unquote, is in, deals with CPS cases or whatever. This is that part too. So just in that, I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be even more for them. I want to be even more for that population. And now looking at others, like I can be that not just for foster youth, but for adults who are dealing with a mental health crisis, who are just, families who struggle due to whatever is going on in their life. And I'm just like, that is what I want to do. This is my passion. And I have so many more opportunities to be that for someone with my license and being a licensed social worker.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And shout out to that social worker for getting us all started.
I don't want to find her, but,
I hope you do.
Well, and thank you for becoming her.
Thank you.
And so, as you mentioned, we launched this in 2023, and now we're about 2 years into the program, over 100 candidates, which we're very excited about. And, these are the folks doing the good work. So I wanted to ask you, Brianna, what has this program meant for you in terms of removing barriers on your pathway to licensure, and what would that pathway look like without this program?
Really, I think one of the things that really pops up for me is it really helps me kind of stay accountable for my hours. And just like one of the things that it supports me with, in that like every month we have a cohort check-in with our state co-chairs, and it's that reminder of what's going on with my hours, making sure I'm on top of it. Even that motivation to want to keep going, hearing others in the field or others in my cohort, possibly either struggling or thriving, or just asking questions about what's next. Coming up to my year, thinking about getting ready for the law and ethics exam as well, and my cohort and the program holding me accountable for what that looks like. And also in that, it just supports with the financial aspects of it. That hasn't been a thought on my mind to not be able to afford that. And I think that's something that my other fellow cohorts and even my other classmates as well have talked about. We're all still in a group chat talking about how everyone's doing and pursuing their hours, and are they taking care of themselves, things of that sort. And mostly always that financial aspect comes into place, and they're thinking about it. And to the benefit of the program, I'm not, because it's taken care of. It helps me focus on what's important in the licensure, studying for that law and ethics exam, recording those hours, currently switching supervisors in the next month. So that paperwork to do that and just be on top of all that are just honestly smaller aspects of how the program has benefited me in my licensure. But things that are just, I think, on top of my mind, being that I'm taking the law and ethics exam soon.
Well, good luck on your exam. I'm sure you'll do great.
Thank you.
So in terms of all of the things that are, would have been kind of clouding your mind and, redirecting your focus away from the things that you were hoping to focus on, what are those things that would be distracting you or causing you stress, and those barriers that your friends in your group chat talk about that you no longer have to worry about due to this program?
So mentioned a little bit of the financial aspect of it, not a thing on my mind, kind of just already there, being able to afford that renewal, all of those things that come with licensure, as well as like remembering like why I'm pursuing my licensure, remembering that this is what I'm doing it for, and having others that I consistently check in that are doing the same thing, whether, I have a tough week or a tough month, and able to check in, and others are feeling that same way too, or feeling really confident and seeing that others as well are doing the work in this field that, sometimes we come across those that maybe we question in terms of like, if they're getting the support and how well they're supporting their clients and patients. But being able to check in with the program and have that, and know that others are getting the support to be stronger, to be a better clinician, and being like, I'm so glad that these people, like the world, the community, has these people, whether it's social workers or marriage and family therapists or the clinical counselors. I think that just kind of reignites every month, really, another reason why I'm pursuing licensure, and how exciting, honestly, that it is that we all, get to network within the check-in, have opportunities to network with other, others in the field, and exploring other ways that we can grow as professionals. All of that is something that for me personally, I worried about, like, am I gonna, just be, with the population of foster youth for, my whole social worker career, or is there other areas? And this program has really been able to just present opportunities that have been so impactful, and not even a thought in my mind to be like, what if I'm just gonna get stuck here? There's just so many opportunities that I'm like, I can do like whatever I want, and talk to people who are in any of those opportunities. So it's been really exciting.
Absolutely. So glad to hear that. And, I've also had the pleasure to meet a number of other candidates in your cohort. And I think the word that we come back to is passion all the time. There's a reason we all end up in this field. Pam talked about why KP ended up in this work, just really caring for folks and their mental health. But with that passion comes another thing we hear about a lot about with burnout in the field, and the paperwork and the hours and case management, and the sensitivity of the topics that you're discussing. So I'm really glad that you all have kind of that peer cohort and that peer support that we've built into the program to hear about others' experiences and hear about different populations that folks are working with. So great to hear that that's been a benefit to you, and has been kind of a positive experience, especially connecting with folks from all over the country, because oftentimes, we have the people in our clinics, the people that we work with, and, connecting with folks with different experiences from all over the country. It's great to hear about that as well. So
can I build off of that, Jess? We had a vision in 2022. We started putting it, pen to paper, and then started preparing to launch. But as we've been meeting the candidates around the nation, it is so incredibly impressive to see like who they are, what they're passionate about, what their experience is, and what they're going to be able to deliver to the nation in terms of the health of our people. And so it's been just really inspirational to meet you all and get to know you all and watch you all thriving in this program, and really learning from the content, but also from the other participants. And so the peer-to-peer is also just so impressive. And then us getting to know you all and grounding us in reality of what's possible here is, I almost have no words. Like, it's just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, I have to agree. And hearing from you all and hearing from your experience really, puts a lot of purpose behind what we do. So we have about 100 candidates, a little over right now, and we're hoping to increase that cohort over time. Like Pam said, we're not stopping at Oregon. So I would love to hear from you, Pam. What does scalability look like for this program? And how do you hope to increase the reach of this program, into the next 5, 10, however many years we continue this work?
Yep, and we are climbing. We're now at 125, so we can see progress even like from day to day. No, it's our aspiration is to scale this program to many more than what we have now, and we're trying to build our muscles here and our partnerships here to do just that. So taking it from the hundreds that we're in now, or just over 100, to thousands, and how many thousands we're still trying to figure out, but wanting to really be a solution for the nation, to really make a dent in the national shortage is what we're trying to lean into, and knowing that we can't do it alone. It's going to take an all hands on deck approach, and partnerships, and thinking about things in terms of scalability, like how do we recruit more candidates? How do the candidates like yourself help spread the word? How do we partner better with universities to get you named the number of people that are graduating, but then needing help getting getting through their licensure? So how do we find the pain points in the process, and lean into how to scale them? But to answer your question, I think we know that we want to scale. We know that it's in the thousands. We know that we have to make changes to the programs to be able to accommodate that. And we're super looking forward to what's possible here, and really taking this to the next level, like starting now.
Yeah, as are we. So you mentioned the importance of partnerships in this work, and you mentioned universities. Can you tell us a little bit more about what other types of partnerships are important to make our current work successful, and then also scale it up into the future?
Yeah, I mean, we have a variety of partners now. Of course, we have you all. And we have folks in the states. Right now we call them co-chairs, that are really helping the candidates find their way, and also helping us and you understand the state by state licensure process, because it is different and complicated, and it complicated to, at least for me, to wrap my arms around the differences. Yeah. And so, yes, and one question is, should it be? And so, just really trying to figure out who are the partners that we need to be able to recruit candidates, keep candidates supported, and then find candidates placements afterwards, and all the components that make for a successful get people to licensure, get people to practicing. And so, who are those partners? Some of them are funding partners also. We have a lot of funders knocking on our door saying, how can we be part of the solution? And so really trying to figure out the right partners. We have testing partners. We have supervision partners. Like, who are the right partners to take this to scale is something that we're all paying attention to right now. And also, most important, I think, is making sure that we build around the end user. So build around the Briannas of the world, and what are the things that are important to you, and what support do you need to take you out into the world of seeing patients, and seeing patients at your full license. And so the answer to your question is, I think we don't even know who all the partners might be, but we know there are many, and we know that it's going to take a village to stand this up the way we envision it, in helping as many people as possible and putting a dent on the workforce shortage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something that has been really useful so far in the program is our state co-chairs and our KP market leads, who really know the communities we're working with and can connect us to, local universities, the clinics that we're hoping to recruit from, because they know the communities better than we ever will. So working with those folks to really say, okay, what do you need? What do the folks that could potentially be joining this program need? And how do we reach them has been monumental in helping us connect to folks like Brianna and others. So we're excited to see what those continued partnerships look like. As you said, there's, an infinite number. Hopefully we'll be meeting many more folks into the future.
Yeah, and I thought of one key partner that I didn't mention. Last year, we launched together with you all, we launched an ambassador program to really elevate a subset of candidates that could really be the voice of the candidates and help us understand the gaps, the value, and really help us shape some of our decision making, and also shape the candidate experience and career path. And so looking forward to what's possible with really leveraging also the ambassador program and the expertise we have in our candidate pool now and into the future.
Yeah, and we actually have one of our candidate ambassadors right here. So you read my mind. Would actually love to hear from you, Brianna. What compelled you to apply to the candidate ambassador program and kind of incorporate more of the advocacy portion into your experience here, and just to be part of this cohort? What kind of drew you to that?
I think that part, the advocacy, it's one thing, to advocate for like our patients and things of that sort. Another, to be able to advocate for my colleagues. I think it's honestly like an honor, especially with such a it's a newer program. So I'm like, oh, how exciting! Like, we get to talk about what works for us and what hasn't been, or like this new thing that's like, wait a minute, this has come up, in the California cohort. What does everyone else think, and what's happening out there? And do you guys have anything, to that would help with this, or have you experienced that? I think it's just in that conversation it's exciting for me. So honestly, it comes down to just being able to advocate for colleagues. I feel like I have a savior thing where I caretaking, essentially, where I always want to take care of my colleagues at my current job, and then just being able to present this opportunity to not take care of, but essentially advocate for my current colleagues in the cohort. And when I hear them talk about some of the areas of struggle even for myself, I'm like, wow, like, hopefully I get to, support them and advocate on their behalf and can do it justice as well. So I think that part was really like, I want to do that.
Yeah. And Jess, it's also an honor for us to have you all, because we can't design a program, and definitely not at scale, without hearing from the people that are in the program and having that voice help to shape the future of it. And so it's an honor for us too, is all I wanted to add.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing. The opportunity to have you all advocate for each other, for yourselves is huge, but also just to hear from your experience and to have folks from across the country who may be looking at this program saying, how can we join? How can we duplicate it? How can we do something similar, to really see how all of you are doing? And also the fact that there are folks like you that want to lift up this program is just a testament to everything we're doing. So the program is very new. I'm excited to, launch more applications into it and welcome more folks into it as we go. But I echo Pam exactly. We're honored to have you here and part of that program. So one last question for the two of you. If you could give folks advice for entering the pathway to licensure, as we've talked about, this field is really grounded in passion, but sometimes it can be complicated with the paperwork and, the licensure documents and the testing and all of that. What advice would you give them for embarking on that journey to licensure after they graduate?
Immediately when you ask that, I'm like, do it, is my response.
Same answer here.
I think for me, when I reflect on how I wanted to pursue licensure, I look at like the different aspects that really like pushed me to do it, even though like I've mentioned my support. I've pursued licensure, including a big part is this program. Though I can hear my colleagues, like I've supported my classmates in that of like, oh, this is what you do, because I had that support. So like in looking at it, I'm like, oh, my place of work was where I was like, okay, I want to be like the clinicians I worked in wraparound with foster youth. So I was like, oh, I want to be like those clinicians. Like they seem like they're doing really wonderful work and I like what they do. And I really respect their feedback in our meetings, things of that sort. And then in school, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to take the, more, the clinical classes. And then that's, and then it's going to open up all these doors for me. And I think with that came my own being like, everyone should get licensed. Yes, do it. And I absolutely respect or can appreciate, like, it is complicated, the process of licensure. Though with the support, that's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing compared to like the doors that are going to open for a person. And I'm talking from like a social worker perspective, so I'm not a little biased. But even just meeting other I'm just like, this is the route to go, and pushing that to the side. The doors, or like the area that opportunities, that you're going to have are just going to be so many. And to have almost every option you can think of to be like, yeah, I want to do this, and no, I don't want to do that anymore. What's this like is absolutely amazing. And I think to me, it's worth it to get clinical experience in all capacities, is incredible. Like right now, and I think I love to say this, and honestly speaks to my passion for this field. I work in 2 different work capacities. I work at a crisis stabilization unit where it's up to 24 hours. We get members, they can't stay past that. So that clinical experience is hugely different than my other work capacity of working with eating disorder patients in a higher level of care. So different, yet love both of them and able to do both of them because I'm pursuing licensure. So I take here's like real life experience of like a real life example of why you should do licensure.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Kim?
I mean, I think I'm just so proud of this program. I'm proud of the program because of the difference it's making for the nation, for the health of the nation, the mental health of the nation, and also for the candidates that are trying to make their way through a really difficult process. And the success rate of the program is also really amazing. So kudos to you all for setting up the wraparound care that people need to get folks through the program. And I just look forward to what we can do, and feel both proud and confident that we can make a difference in the workforce shortage. And I feel like it's such an urgent need. The time is now, and the momentum is now, and the program is also now. So I have just enthusiasm and gratefulness really for where we are and where we can be.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to chat with me today and to hear about your experience. And just thank you so much for all of your work in the field, on the ground, the hard work that you do, and for participating in this program, and for all the wonderful energy that you bring to this as well. And to Pam, we appreciate the partnership with KP so much.
Likewise.
And, of course, have to shout out the National Council team and all of my wonderful colleagues that I work with. But thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an honor to be here, and just sharing my experience has been really helpful in my own reflection of it as well. So thank you both. Like I said, truly an honor.
And your experience grounds us in reality. So you have no idea how that is helping shape the program. So really, thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you both again for a wonderful conversation and for both of your thoughtful input. If anyone would like to reach out to us, feel free to send us an email at the National Council website if you'd like to hear more about the program or about Brianna's experience and the candidate experience as a whole.